Okay, 5.4 is about building credit. Um, is it easier to build good credit from no credit or bad credit? It is much easier to build on no credit because bad credit can stay with you for 7 to 10 years. Let's learn some ways to build credit. When to start building credit? You don't need to wait until you have a full-time job or you're out of college. You can start now to begin building your credit. It takes time to build credit. It takes about 3 years for someone with good credit habits to have a credit score in the mid to high 600s. It takes up to 7 years to develop a very good credit score of 700 or more. How do I start building credit? There are several ways to establish credit for the first time. For example, you can become an authorized user, take out a federal student loan, take out a loan with a cosigner, get a secured credit card, get a credit builder loan. Once you have one account, it becomes easier to get additional accounts after about 6 months. Over time, you'll get the best credit score when you have at least 1 or 2 credit cards and 1 or 2 loans, like a student loan or an auto loan. That said, having more accounts is not necessarily better. Number 1, become an authorized user. A family member or significant other can add you as an authorized user on his or her card. Authorized users are not legally obligated to pay for purchases made on that account. The primary cardholder is. Doing so adds that card's payment history to your credit files. So you'll want a primary user who has a long history of paying on time and uses a small portion of their credit limit. Also, if you open a checking account at a bank, get a debit card and use it responsibly. Number 2, take out a federal student loan. When in college, as they usually don't do a credit check. Number 3, use a cosigner. A cosigner is responsible for the full amount you owe if you don't pay. Use it like when you get a loan. If you would get an auto loan and you'd have your parents co-sign for you. Number 4, get a secured credit card. A secured card is backed by a cash deposit you make up front. The deposit is usually the same as your credit limit. Deposit is returned when the account is closed. Secured credit cards aren't meant to be used forever. The purpose of a secured card is to build your credit enough to qualify for an unsecured card. Number 5, get a credit builder loan. And this is how this works. The lender agrees to loan you a certain amount of money, which is deposited into your account. You make payments on the loan, and the lender reports those payments to 3 major consumer credit card bureaus or credit bureaus to create or add to your credit history. When the loan is paid off, the lender finally gives you the funds. Number 11, your right as a borrower. It's important to know your rights as a borrower. The Fair Credit Reporting Act gives you certain rights with respect to your credit report, including the following. Number 1, the right to be told if information in your file has been used against you. 2, the right to know what your file contains. You have the right to ask for a credit score. You have the right to dispute information in your credit report. You have the right to have inaccurate information corrected or removed. You have the right to have older, negative information excluded from your credit report. You have the right to have access to your credit report limited. You have the right to have your credit report given to your employer only with your consent. You have the right to limit pre-screened offers of credit and insurance based on your credit report. So, what are your responsibilities? As a borrower, you have certain responsibilities to the companies issuing credit. Upholding these responsibilities is your obligation to your creditors and also helps you maintain a good credit score. Be familiar with your basic responsibilities when using credit. First, understand the terms of the agreement. It is your responsibility to understand what you're signing up for when it comes to borrowing. Read the fine print regarding interest, fees, and other charges. Check your statements. Ensure the information on your statement is correct. If not, notify your creditor immediately. Keep your receipts and reconcile to your monthly statements. Pay on time. The creditor has loaned you money, so you can buy now, pay later. You are obligated to pay that money back on the scheduled time frame to which you have agreed. Missing payments or continually paying late will damage your credit rating. Update your contact information. If you move or temporarily change your address, notify your lenders. Sometimes lenders will give you a break if the bill doesn't reach you in time, but this latitude won't last long. Repay the full debt. When you borrow, you're borrowing a set amount and you're agreeing to pay interest on the outstanding balance. In the long run, you have to pay the full amount borrowed, the principal, plus the interest to satisfy the debt. This also includes any associated fees. Notify creditors if cards are lost or stolen. Always notify your credit card user if your cards are stolen or lost. Your liability is limited to $50, but the creditor has a right to know if someone is using your cards to make fraudulent purchases. Building a good credit history now will give you better choices in the future.